Howdy, buenos dias. And that's about as much Espanol as I will speak today. Myself and Sergeant Darden will try to make it extremely easy for you to understand the ASVAB test. We do not have all of the answers. However, if you need to know something that we do not know, we will get the answer and get back to you. The ASVAB is part of a state law now with a requirement that all 10th through 11th graders will have an opportunity to take the ASVAB test during regular school time. It's not mandatory for the students to take the test. However, it is mandatory that educational institutions offer the services during the actual test during school time. You see the CCMR score, that is part of our accountability rating, and the Armed Services enlistment is a component of the CCMR. However, it's on hold right now, but we anticipate it will come back. This is our goal as a district for 10% of all 10 through 12th graders take the ASVAB. And it's also, that goal has gone down to each of the high schools. Also, we have a 9th grade goal, and that's to identify students interested in enlisting, and we will provide a practice test or any other counseling or assistance that the 9th graders may need. We have a further goal that says of those 10% that take it, we want 25% of those to have a qualifying score. And Sergeant Darden or myself will talk to you about that AFQ and what it actually stands for. But our goal is 25% of the students who take the test will receive a successful score. And us being SAISD, and we're hua, 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 and we're excited about education, we've increased the goal of those students that qualify. We want them to get a score of 50 or greater from those 10th through 11th graders. And again, we will explain to you why we want them to get a better score. Steps for success. Now, there are several steps for success, but I'm just going to talk about the most important step for success. And that is to receive an ASVAB presentation or briefing so that the student and the parents and any other educators will understand ASVAB, how to be successful in ASVAB. Sergeant Darden.
All right. During this presentation, we're going to showcase a number of students who we call them being on the fast track of taking the ASVAB test, of enlisting in the military, and procuring a skill at the same time while enjoying the benefits of the GI Bill. This first young lady, his name is Victoria Compton. She was one of my Leadership Officer Training Corps cadets. She transferred over to Jefferson, and she's now in the United States Army, and this is her profile. Next slide. Why take the ASVAB test? Well, it's a career assessment. Tell you what you're good in. There's a student test version of the ASVAB test that they take in high school, which is an easier version. There's 8 categories that you test in. The test is timed. And what happens is, if you finish early in one of those categories, you can go back and look at your answers and correct your answers. which should in turn give you a higher test score. That higher test score will become your ASVAB score, which is good for 2 years. And as we stated, this will put the student on the fast track. If they decide to enlist in the military, they get the GI Bill and they can go to college debt-free. Next slide. Here's another of our fast track students. She was a product of Brackenridge High School. She scored 70 on her ASVAB. She became an avionics mechanic, and this is the rest of her profile.
The examples we're using are from JROTC or LOTC former students. There are other students within the district, but we are showcasing the JROTC students. And we will explain to you why we're doing that at a later time as well.
All right, ASVAB, Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. ASVAB is the acronym for that. It measures students' strength, weaknesses, and potential for future success. ASVAB is useful to students that do not go into the military, but it's useful for career exploration. And these are the skilled areas that are tested on the ASVAB test. As you can see, those skilled areas are STEM heavy. Next slide. All right, David is one of my former leadership officer training course cadets. David asked me when he was in 6th grade that he asked me how could he become a fireman, which is the fastest way. I told him, David, well, you know, if you join the military and become a fireman in the military, then when you come out of the military, you can walk right into the fire department. So David is now a fireman in the Navy, and he's stationed in Japan.
I might add that we're throwing these acronyms at you, JROTC and LOTC. JROTC is Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, and it is a co-sponsored event between or an agreement between the Army and the military and a high school to provide a citizenship, a basis for our students. And there's no obligation for the military to be in JROTC, but it just provides opportunities for students to explore leadership, to learn about the country, and to serve the community through community service and service learning. LOTC, Leadership Officers Training Corps, is basically the same. They have a curriculum that's for LOTC in the middle school, and it's in the middle schools. And this is strictly a San Antonio Independent School District initiative that provides basically the same as it's a citizenship program that provides the same for our middle school students. And sorry, Sergeant Jordan, for me getting on the soapbox.
All right, true or false? A lot of misconceptions about the ASVAB, and here's some of the true or false misconceptions. There is a military obligation if you take the ASVAB test, true or false? Well, that's false. There is no military obligation if you take the ASVAB test. The ASVAB test is very easy, true or false? That's very false. The ASVAB test is very rigorous. 1 out of 4 failed the ASVAB test taken it the first time. ASVAB test is an indicator for success for any pathway. That's true. As you saw the different areas that the ASVAB test test in, if you're successful in fulfilling that pathway, then you'll be successful in the ASVAB. ASVAB is just for JROTC cadets. That's false. 10th through 12th graders can take the ASVAB test, whether in JROTC or not. There is a charge for taking the ASVAB test, true or false? That is false. There is no charge for taking the ASVAB test. Taking the ASVAB test means you can't go to college. Totally false. the ASVAB test is a good tool to show you what you're good in so that you can take those areas in college. And so those are the misconceptions of the ASVAB test. Next slide.
And that will be helpful to those of you parents that have college students that have changed their majors 3, 4, and 5, and 6 times. The ASVAB could be a tool that you could use to help your child decide the best major for them.
All right. Christopher, one of my LOTC students, when he was in the 6th grade, he asked me which service is the best service to join if you really want to travel. So I suggested to him that he join the Air Force, which Christopher did, and he scored 61 on his ASVAB, and he's now stationed in England, Europe, and he's been to Italy, Paris, Brussels, all those areas. So he's traveling all over the place. So the ASVAB and joining the military has helped him fulfill some of his dreams.
Sergeant Darden should have told him Army Infantry Airborne Ranger is the way to go.
Okay. As we said before, there is no charge to take the ASVAB test. It provides career information for various civilian and military occupations. It's an indicator for success in future endeavors, whether a student chooses to go to college, vocational school, or the military. Next slide. Here's a product of Sam Houston High School. Anthony Davis, he scored the minimum score to join the Marine Corps, and here's the rest of his profile. All right, ASVAB. Who is eligible to take the ASVAB? 10th through 12th grades in high school. When can the ASVAB be taken? Anytime. Campuses coordinate with the military entrance and processing station to schedule an ASVAB test. How will the students know their score? The MEPS Education Service Specialist will consult with the students, his parents, and the counselors to talk about their score and what areas they're good in. If the student wants to retake the test, the first time it's 30 days, the second time is 30 days, but any time after that is 6 months to take the test.
And as a reminder, MEPS stands for Military Entrance and Processing Station. And there is one at Fort Sam Houston, Texas.
Some more of my cadets, LOTC cadets that went on to high school and joined JROTC. And Robert scored a 74 and joined the U.S. Army Reserve as a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist. Or as we say, chemical specialist. Minimum ASVAB score to join the military is Army is 31, Air Force is 31, Marine Corps is 31, Navy is 31, and Coast Guard is 36. And there are approximately 800 different types of jobs in the military. The higher your ASVAB score is, the more job opportunities you'll get, and the more bonuses you qualify for. And those bonuses could be for certain jobs or for school.
And that's in the form of financial compensation. More money, more money, more money.
More money. She is a product of Breckenridge High School. She scored a 71 on her ASVAB score. She picked out the automated logistical specialist job, and here's the rest of her profile. All right, joining the military, the requirements. You have to be a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident with a valid green card. You have to be currently living in the United States, and you must speak, read, and write English fluently. There's an age requirement, 17 with parental consent or 18 without. Now, each service has a maximum enlistment age. Army is 34, Air Force is 39, Coast Guard is 31, Marine Corps is 28.
For your information, there is an organization in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base. Their mission is to train and to assist students who do not fluently speak or write English so that they can be successful in the military. So there are waivers for the speaking, writing of English.
Here's another product of Edison High School. Ms. Garza scored a 40 on her ASVAB. She chose the job of being a culinary specialist, and here's the rest of her profile.
And as you can see, she's in the Texas National Guard, so she can remain in the state and will not have to go off anywhere, and she can simultaneously become a college student.
Joining the military, education requirements. You must have a high school diploma or a GED. Now, if you have a GED, there's some options that are limited in some of the branches. Everyone must take the ASVAB test. It determines which branch and which job you can pick. There's a health and fitness requirement. Pass a physical exam and meet height and weight limitations. You must pass a hearing and vision test, and you must be of good moral character, no criminal record or criminal record waiver.
As far as the GED, the students that have a GED or people that have the GED, their minimum entry exam, the minimum entry score is a few points higher.
Is a product of Highland High School. Mr. Rodriguez scored a 62 on his ASVAB, and here's the rest of his profile.
Watch this face. Why military readiness? We have some quotes here, and I won't read them, but some quotes about why people join the military. And you can read for yourself. And you will see that according to the survey, the majority of people join for educational benefits.
Is a product of Breckenridge High School. Christopher, I met this young man, gun-ho, very smart, scored 80 on his ASVAB test, but he wanted to be in the thick of things where the rubber meets the road, as we say in the military, and he became a cavalry scout. But he could have done anything he wanted to do based on his score. And here's his profile.
This young man had an opportunity to attend the United States Military Academy, but instead chose to enlist. We're hoping that we can convince him before he either gets married or becomes too old to go to the military academy. All right. Now, this is where I will challenge that survey. I believe, particularly in Texas, a large number of people join the military because they want to serve their country. And I can say for myself, that is the reason that I joined, because I wanted to serve my country. And you can see some of the other reasons for joining the military. One item I like to highlight is benefits, benefits, benefits. Um, the medical in the military is phenomenal. The travel is phenomenal. The experiences are phenomenal, and the training and the education. If you go into the military, you can probably get education funded all the way from a associate's degree all the way through a doctorate and some professional schooling. And it's lots of fun most of the time.
Here's a product of Lanier High School. This young man scored an 85 on his ASVAB, very high score, but he chose to be a motor transport operator. That's why it's important that when these students get their scores and sit down with their parent and their counselors, they need to sit down with somebody who's knowledgeable about the military, because I'm quite sure based on his score, he could have picked some high-level technical jobs, STEM jobs, but the military recruiters sometimes have positions that he has to fill, But I think unless this young man selected this job, he could have done much better. So here's the rest of his profile. All right. I think the most important thing that students want to know about the military is the pay. I know for my son, he was excited about the pay because being in the military, that was his first job, and he went in it as an E1. So when he got his first check, he got paid twice a month. So they divided that $1,732 times 2. So he was excited to receive that $800 and something every 2 weeks. But had he had JROTC experience from 1 to 2 years, he would have got he would win it as an E2, and he would have got that $200 raise. Had he had 3 or 4 years in JROTC, he would have got a $300 raise and went in as an E3. But he chose marching band, and marching band doesn't give advanced promotions in the military.
And I might add that this was based on last year's salary, effective 1 January 2021. There was an increase of 3% for the salaries.
Another product from Highland High School. Remember that name, Rodriguez? Remember the face? His brother scored a 61 on the ASVAB test and joined the Navy Reserves, and here's the rest of his profile.
Outstanding young man. And you see they chose the reserve option also, and they will enroll in at the University of Texas, and they're applying for a United States Navy ROTC scholarship.
All right, warrant officer. Warrant officer is a position that's technical and tactical. But if a student wants to fly a helicopter, he could take the ASVAB test, and as long as he get a 110 on the general technical portion of it, he can take the selection instrument flight training test. And if he passed that and passed the course, he can become a warrant officer and be a helicopter pilot. And the starting pay would be $32,1308.
And again, add a 3% increase and you will have the current salary.
A product of Luther Burbank High School, Mr. Campos scored a 40 on his ASVAB test, and he's a light wheel vehicle mechanic. And here's the rest of his profile. Commission officer base pay. For those dual credit students, if you have 2 years of college or 60 semester hours and you score 110 on the general technical part of the ASVAB test, you can take the officer candidate test, and then once you pass that, you go to officer candidate school. And once you graduate, you come out as a commissioned officer, as a second lieutenant. And as a second lieutenant, your base pay will be $32.84 plus 3%. But while you're in officer candidate school, depending on what your rank is, if you come in as the E1 or E2 or E3, you automatically you automatically get paid as an E5 while you're in officer candidate school until you become a second lieutenant.
And shortly after they get that commission, they will need to get a bachelor's degree. And there is a time frame that they have. If you're Jordan.
The time frame is in order for them to make captain, they got to have a bachelor's degree.
And they also, and the sooner they get it, the more competitive they will be. And if you have any questions about either the warrant officer or the commission officer, I'm available for you. If you have any questions about the enlisted, Sergeant Dorton is available for you, as well as warrant and commission, because he also had a commission in the United States Army that he doesn't tell people about. But I'm letting the cat out of the bag.
All right, this is the best part of the briefing for me, to show you how important taking the ASVAB was for my family. As an enlisted soldier, I couldn't afford to send my kids to college, so these are my daughters, and I had my daughters take the ASVAB test in high school. Nicole, my oldest daughter here, she scored an 85 on her ASVAB. We collaborated together and put her in information technology specialist. Matter of fact, she was the first Black female to be accepted in that MOS as a private. And this is her profile of what she's doing today. My second daughter, Corey, she scored a 91 on the ASVAB. She picked surgical technology specialist, but she took the GI Bill and she went back to school and got her bachelor's and master's in information technology specialist. And this is her profile of what she's doing today. Here's my two sons. They also took the ASVAB because we're a military family. Doug scored an 81. He picked the same job his older sisters picked. He became an information technology specialist. And this is what Doug is doing today. Richard is my youngest son. He's 24, but he came out of high school, scored a 96 on the ASVAB, picked 17 Charlie, which when he went in, it was the beginning of cyber security and cyber operations. So he became a cyber operations specialist. Richard got out a little less than 2 years ago. He's 24 today, and this is what he's doing as we speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not believe Sergeant Darden. He could have afforded, he was just cheap. He could have afforded.
But parents, I'm telling you.
But all seriousness, several of us have funded or assisted our kids in going to school. And sometimes when somebody else is paying, they don't take it as serious. But if they're paying, a lot of times they will take it a little more serious.
Parents, please listen to me. I know the counselors at the high school level don't talk about this much. They want you to get college loans and financial aid and things of that nature. Have your kids take the ASVAB and see what they're good in. Let the military pay for their education. Save you a lot of money, a lot of headaches. Sometimes kids, they're smart enough to get in. They need the structure. Sometimes going to college, sometimes they get distracted. This way they can, the longer they stay in the military, the more education they have to get promoted.
And the other option is they can do both. The reserve component offers them an opportunity to enlist and join the military and receive those benefits. Texas National Guard has extremely good benefits for his education as well as the reserves. So there are several options, and if you're interested in those options, feel free to contact us. We put our contact information in the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free. If you don't have the information from the chat, you can talk to Ms. Hess, and she can get you connected with us or someone who's much smarter and better looking than Sergeant Darden that can help you. This is just an example of some of the questions that are asked on the ASVAB, and I will go through them quickly. And here's a link that provides sample questions. And if you're as old as I am, or as old as both of us are, we had a different exposure. We were outside a lot. Our generation was outside a lot. We did mechanical type of things, but today's generation may not be as familiar with some of the concepts here because of the way the world has evolved. So again, we're showing these opportunities and the exam so that if your child needs additional help, they can get additional help that will make them successful. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your questions over anything that we discussed or didn't discuss, and how may we assist you?